Hello guys, this is Octavius of North American Archery. Thank you so much for tuning into our channel. Today I want to talk to you about something that's pretty interesting, and it's how to overcome the fear of failure. How do we overcome the fear of failure in traditional archery? Now on our channel we have several videos that you can check out, but one of them is entitled Why Most People Quit Traditional Archery. And one of the reasons that I believe people quit anything in life is the fear of failure. Now, failure is always apparent in anything you try that is difficult. And traditional archery is very difficult. It's not for everyone. What I mean by difficult, I mean it's not going to be instant gratification. You're going to learn how to shoot a bad target or a block target or a 3D animal. You're going to learn how to do that. But to be a professional at it, or let's say very proficient at it, it's going to be a lifelong task. And most people that run across archery in general don't have the patience to become very, very good at it. It's something they dabbled in when they were in the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts or with their grandpa, their uncle, their dad back in the day when they used to go hunting. But they don't stick with it for 40, 50 years. Now, many of you guys that subscribe to our channel are in it to win it. You are already on the path to greatness. You're already somebody that's been doing this for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years already, and I applaud you for that. But many people that will come across this video have already quit traditional archery, and the reason why they quit is because they didn't like the failure part of it. But I'm here to tell you, you didn't fail, you just quit. You just need to get back on the horse and ride back to town and start doing what you got to do. So let me give you the top 5 ways that you can eliminate out of your life the fear of failure as it pertains to traditional archery. Number 1, if you don't quit, you can't fail. You got to have that in your mind. If you don't quit, you can't fail. It's like a marriage, guys. I've been married for many years, like many of you. You didn't fail that marriage if you don't quit. It's like the girlfriend, the boyfriend relationship. That relationship did not fail if you didn't quit. But many of you did quit. Did you fail in that relationship? Of course you did. You failed because you quit. It didn't work out. It was time to move on. I get it. However, failure is the number one thing people would say if a relationship didn't work out and you don't talk to them anymore and there's nothing else to do. That was all she wrote, right? But those of us that have had hard times with our girlfriend, our boyfriend, our wife, our husband, our children, and it's just rocky all the time, but we're still trying to work at it, we didn't fail. We're just in a process of trying to get that relationship better. Now, at no time in this video, I want you, the person that has been divorced or somebody that has had a relationship that didn't work out in their lives, to say, Octavius is putting me down. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to give you an illustration on what it means to fail. Failure is not going to occur in a person's life unless they quit. When you quit, you failed at what you were trying to do. And as I was thinking about this, when I turned that camera on, that's just what came out of me. There's so many friends of mine that have been married or had a girlfriend or a boyfriend and it did not work out well, and they would say, yeah, that relationship failed. Same thing when it comes to traditional archery. There is a relationship we have with a longbow or a recurve. And the only way that it will be a failure is if you quit. So don't quit and you won't be failing at the sport. Okay, guys? And it's another way to overcome the fear of failure. Number 2, learn to crawl before you run. You know the saying, crawl before you walk. But some people don't even go to the walking point. They just start running. They want to grab a bow and they want to start shooting and be just as good as the guy that's been shooting for 20, 30 years. That's just not going to happen. We have prodigies. I've seen young kids and I've seen older, even college age kids get a bow and I'm like, wow, this guy's awesome. He's better than some of the guys I know. But at no point in time does he have the depth or she have the depth of an archer that's been practicing their entire lives since they were a kid. So if you want to run before you walk or before you even learn how to crawl, it's just not possible in the sport. And what it can do is it can get you demoralized and you can feel like you're failing every single time you pick up a bow because it's not going fast enough for you. It goes back to that instant gratification. So then the relationship that you have with traditional archery begins to sour, and then you literally walk away from it, and then that's when failure steps in. So you want to make sure that you learn how to crawl, then you learn how to walk, and then you learn how to run in traditional archery so you won't get discouraged. Number 3 is stop shooting not to miss. So one of the things that we all struggle with is that we shoot an arrow at times hoping we don't miss the target or miss the animal, which in turn causes us to miss exactly what we're looking at, right? I actually think that this is a lot to do with most people when they call it target panic. It's because I would say that when I was first into traditional archery, when I first picked up a longbow and I started to shoot, I would say that I was a much better natural shot instinctively at that time because I didn't have all the information in my head and I didn't really think about the fear of failure. I didn't think about the possibility of even missing because I was so much of a novice that I didn't have all the information to compute in my mind to get to the point where I would overthink the shot. Now that's changed. And so if I had to be honest, I probably deal with a little bit of target panic at times because I know so much about what I'm doing that now years later, when I want to shoot something long distance or something even a medium distance, like 20, 25 yards, I kind of know a lot about what I could and shouldn't do, okay? So sometimes I overthink it and I miss. And one of the things I will say that I do is I try not to miss what I'm looking at times, and I end up missing. It's kind of like this. I played basketball for so many years. Probably my entire life, ever since I was 5 years old, all the way up until I was in my early 20s, I played basketball either in league or in school. And so the thing is that when I would shoot a three-pointer or a free throw, if I thought that I was going to miss it, I would end up missing it. But if I was very confident in shooting, I was probably going to make it, 50, 60% of the time, 70% of the time, depending on the angle, the distance, or what have you. The same thing applies when you are actually having a bow in your hand and you're letting the arrow go. If you're thinking about missing it, you're going to miss it. But if you imagine you making the shot, if you imagine that and that imagery is in your mind and all you're thinking about is your sight picture and putting that arrow where you're looking, you're much more likely to make the shot happen. So one of the things we have to stop doing, and it's very difficult the longer you shoot, is stop shooting an arrow not to miss. Imagine that you're going to make it, and then you won't think you're going to fail when you shoot. Number 4 is practice managing your nerves. Another reason why a lot of people fail in traditional archery is because when a pressure situation happens, that animal walks in front of the tree stand, in front of that blind, they go out to a 3D range, they got to hit a couple more 10s or 8s to win the tournament, whatever it is, and the pressure actually sinks into their mind, they begin to not shoot and they succumb to the pressure. Really what that is the fear of failure You're afraid that when you let that arrow go, you're not going to hit where you're looking. You're not going to harvest an animal. You're not going to hit the ring that you're looking at on the 3D animal. You have to learn, we have to learn how to manage our nerves. And so the biggest thing is that when you're hunting or you're at a tournament, you have to understand that you have the possibility of failing and losing the tournament. Doesn't mean that you're a failure in life or as a person. It's just that you failed to win the tournament. You might be second, third, fourth, or maybe you failed to harvest that animal that day. That doesn't mean you quit hunting. And so it's very essential that we practice with a sense of urgency. We practice knowing that what's good for us is putting ourselves in pressure situations, and a way to do that is assimilate it. Shoot long distances. Shoot against other people at the house or in the neighborhood or at the camp. Try to up the ante a little bit, not just shoot the bag target in the backyard over and over and over again, and then when you go out in the woods or the 3D tournament thinking that's gonna really give you the ability to beat other people or to be the best version of yourself as an archer. Or get in a tree stand, and as soon as that big buck comes by, you're ready to go. Most people can't do that. There's a few people out there that for sure can, but most people have to simulate pressure in order to get to the place where pressure is not even an issue. So that is the best way I have found to learn how to manage your nerves so you're not afraid to fail. And then number 5, and this is very important, if you miss an animal, then go hunting again as soon as possible. One of the biggest things in traditional archery that I see when a person goes hunting for the first season or two is that when they know they have a shotgun or a rifle or a crossbow or whatever weapon in their arsenal that is easier than a longbow or a recurve, that is in the back of their mind. And so as soon as they're not able to feel those tags, which is fine, they'll go off and get a weapon and go ahead and get it done. I used to be that way a little bit, not entirely, but I haven't picked up a firearm to take any animal, to harvest any animal in a very long time, because to me it's more about the experience and getting better in traditional archery than taking a gun and shooting a deer at 20 yards with a rifle. And so if that's you, that's fine. It's okay to go out and shoot your shotguns and shoot your rifles. I'm not saying that. It's very fun. I've owned several guns myself, and sometimes it's really fun to shoot them. But where I'm at in traditional archery is I want to challenge, and I want to make sure I put myself in a situation to where I can be successful with the weapon that I enjoy the most shooting, and that is a longbow or a recurve. But if I'm not successful, and I've had that last season, I didn't shoot one deer with traditional equipment the entire season last year. I shot hogs and other animals last year in 2024, but I wasn't successful shooting the bucks that I was after, okay? And it was very disheartening at the time. But I didn't fail because of my perspective. My perspective is being a better woodsman, being out in the great outdoors and learning more about myself and what God's created. And so my perspective is I'm a better hunter, even though I didn't get it done when I was trying to harvest a deer, okay? But what I did the entire time is that if I missed a deer or I missed an opportunity fiddling with the camera and the deer saw me, because I was also filming for the first time last year and it was very tough. But that's another story for a different video. But back on track here, as soon as I had that moment of failure, I got back in the tree stand. I got back in the woods and tried to get it done. That's what you have to do if you want to stick with this stuff. You gotta go all in, okay? So guys, I wanted to give you 5 ways that me personally, Octavius personally, overcomes failure in traditional archery. Let me know in the comments what you think are ways that you can overcome failure. What are some of the things that you experienced? Now, you can see by now that this channel has a different perspective, a different approach to traditional archery. I'm here to motivate and to encourage you to be the best version of yourself in the sport. But I do appreciate the comments and the things that you guys say in the actual comment section, because it encourages me and it encourages other people, and we really do appreciate it in the small community of traditional archery. So guys, you know what I'm about to say. You don't have to get ready when you stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.